Greetings from the galaxy far, far away. This is the Legacy of Star Wars podcast, brought to you by Fandom Empire. I am your host, Johnny, and it is truly a pleasure to be with you wherever you're listening from or whenever you're listening to us. If you're here with us live, drop something in the live chat, and we'll try and get around to it. And if you're not, head on down below this video, hit that thumbs up, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, click the bell, all those things that help us defeat the evil algorithm, and leave us a comment. All right, as always, I am joined by my co-hosts, my colleagues, my cohorts, my friends in villainy. Sean, how you doing?
Man, you went to me and I was just coughing. How dare you? I'm good. You know, it's been just a crazy week, and I don't mean just in terms of Fandom Empire, which it has been, but just in life in general, and comes at you in different waves. Pardon me. Positive, negative, more positive than negative, and just kind of excited and excited about the news that I'm not saying that we were the only ones to have it or anything like that, but that we discussed around the time that Ahsoka was airing, the rumor that we had heard from a buddy of ours that works at a movie theater, not just works at a movie theater, runs the movie theater, that he had heard that the Phantom Menace was in fact being re-released last year or this upcoming year, and that there was going to be a little bit of marketing power behind it, and they're going to make a bit of an event out of it. So that has come to light, and I'm really excited to discuss that with all you, and hopefully we don't need to kidnap anyone.
Well, we'll definitely we'll discuss that more a little later on in the show. Randy, how you doing?
It's been one of those weeks. Obviously, kind of still reeling over this past Sunday. Obviously, I'm hoping everybody enjoyed the commercials, but for me, it was bittersweet for me. But and I digress. You know, we're here talk about Star Wars, not football. So I'm ready to have some fun.
Wait, there was a football game?
There was.
I remember there was a lot of movie trailers, a couple of them that we did a reaction to on this channel.
And they looked really good, too.
Yeah.
And that is an awesome segue to tell us, if you like the stuff on this channel, head on over to the Fandom Empire YouTube page and check out all our other stuff. Tonight in Haddonfield, always great content. Last week's special episode, so check that out. Legacy of Westeros, supposed to have a new episode yesterday, didn't. But don't worry, it'll be back soon enough.
So correction on that.
No?
The Legacy of Westeros YouTube channel is back active. There was a video uploaded. I can't remember if it was on the weekend or Friday or something. I covered the Aegon announcement there from HBO, but we were supposed to relaunch House of the Empire, show that you have been on, sir. Zach and I had been coming on to this channel doing just sort of random pop-up shows under that Fandom Show banner, and we just kind of talked with ourselves. It's like, why don't we actually try to brand what we're doing here? Like, yeah, we're still going to take some of that content and put it over on the other channel, but we wanted to talk about things, not just in Westeros. So we brought back the House of the Empire show with a brand new logo and brand new graphics, and really excited about that. So you'll be able to catch that every other Monday at around 7 or 7:30 p.m. Eastern. Still working on the time slot.
Well, there you go. And of course, coming soon to a channel near you, that's this one, is Legacy of Smallville. I almost said Supernatural.
Just living in the past. Brought it up. We haven't had any further conversation on it, though.
No, we haven't. But
it's a big commitment. No 15 seasons and 327 episodes.
No crap. But of course, if you like the content and you want to contribute at another level, head on over to Patreon, patreon.com/Fandom Empire, and you can contribute at whatever level you feel comfortable at, or don't. All right. Let's get down to business. Every time I say a phrase like that, I just want to start, going into Mulan. But I'm not Donny Osmond. All right. It's time for the HoloNet, boys. Let's get down to the business and the news. Because obviously, we're not watching Jedi again this week, because that's Randy's fault again. news and things of that nature dropped enough that we decided to push back again. So, if you wanted to see the Return of the Jedi watch along, blame Randy. It's his fault. We're not doing it again. Like Sean said a little ago, as we discussed months back in the very, even before this show, I guess we were doing it on the Ahsoka reviews. It had come up and it was a part of our earlier episodes. And that is episode 1, The Phantom Menace, officially being re-released for the 25th anniversary. And with that came a new poster. So let's do that first. Talk about the poster. Guys, like it? Don't like it? What do you think? Sean, you look like you're chomping at the bit to start talking, but you forgot to unmute your mic.
It would not let me unmute. That's weird. Okay, but I'm back now. Wait, why are we going smaller on that? We want to go bigger on that. All right. So there she is in all of her glory. I fucking love this poster, by the way. Let me just say that this is far and away better than every single poster that they have done in the Disney era. And not only do I think it's better than every single poster they've done in the Disney era, I don't think it's I don't think it's close. I don't think it's a conversation of, oh, well, maybe the Force Awakens one. No, sorry. The Force Awakens one had about 100 characters on it that weren't needed. And The Last Jedi had some good marketing material. I'll say that. The Last Jedi had some really good posters. That's probably the closest. The Rise of Skywalker was not very good. I like Rogue One as a film, but again, other than the beach one, I don't know. I just feel like the posters have lacked, and this doesn't. This feels like a breath of fresh air.
Randy, what about you?
I mean, I like it. I definitely like it. I also want to, but I'm looking at it. It's like, it's almost like they're trying to say this is a big deal, and because of the way, just by now, either you were going for new generation or anybody who started at episode 1. Because I actually have friends who didn't start watching Star Wars until actually episode 1. This, just looking at this, it just makes me feel like it's a big deal. And that's exactly, I think, what they're going for. That this is a re-release of, the start, technically the start of the saga. But yeah, I like the fact that it's focused on the main characters you get to deal with pretty much the entire movie.
This is coming from me. This is going to be like he hates the prequels, but I actually don't like it. And to me, this is just me. There's no. I know it's not a factual statement, but to me, it looks fake. Like it looks. I'm going to say the letters that nobody likes to hear, but to me, it looks AI. Like it looks like something someone put together through an AI generator and put up on Twitter. Like there's just something about the style of it that looks fake.
It's funny that you mentioned that because there was some criticism about that over the weekend, and the artist backlashed at it and showed some of his mock-ups.
I'm sure that I'm
doing.
positive. I have no doubt that it was created by a real artist. It just stylistically it evokes that fake AI-ness that you can have, which I think is more a testament of how AI is sort of taken over that style, which is sad because it is a very tough style to be good at, and this is a very good example of it. For digital art, this is phenomenal. It just it evokes that feeling of AI generation, and I don't like that. I like the classic I like that artistic Eastruzan style, the comic book style, and this is more CGI, computery, digital style.
Film accurate, maybe. I love Struzan. I mean, hey, I think it gets Struzan back to do all the posters. That'd be amazing. I get what you're saying, but I don't know. For me, I'm in love with this thing, and I just think it invokes so much of the movie. You get the Trade Federation off to the left, Naboo off to the left. You have some of the rock formations from the pod race off to the lower left. You have Jake Lloyd, who is not at all really represented in this poster, other than that shadow there at the bottom.
Well, I mean, that shot is very symbolic in Star Wars.
It is,
though,
but
right?
there's a reason they're not using Jake Lloyd. A very personal reason. You know, I definitely hope that Jake has. I hope Jake, finds a way to a better life than what he's been dealing with. I think that's Padme's ship off to the right. And then you have where Anakin lives down on the bottom. The one thing I will say to this poster, though, and again, this is what Star Wars fans do. New content comes out, new posters here. Darth Maul, to me, just me, looks like Sam Witwer's Maul more than
Yeah.
Ray Park's Maul.
That's but it's in the cheeks are much more concaved and prominent, which is a feature of the animated Maul, not the live action Maul. So you're right, I definitely see that.
I haven't seen anywhere you can buy this, which I find a little odd. Now, keep in mind, there's easy ways to recreate it. I've recreated a bunch of posters and then gone and got them printed. But
not that we'd ever encourage anyone to do such things.
No. Even though
buy the genuine articles. That's the way to do it.
For sure. Hey, show us where we can buy it. You got my money.
I'm sure it'll come. Like once you get the marketing push, it'll come. It has to. I don't outside of like con exclusive posters, I don't think there's ever been a mainline film poster that hasn't been released somewhere.
I think Randy nailed it, transitioning a little bit from poster to movie. It does feel like, given the Empire magazine covers, the coverage, new interviews, new photo shoots, this poster, this isn't just what they did for Return of the Jedi last year and then Empire a couple years back. This is another level that they're trying here. And I think one of the reasons that they're trying to push this for another level, as much as I love the OT, the prequel trilogy is more kid-friendly. And there's still a bunch of kids that have never seen this movie. I intend to see this movie twice in theaters. One, there's already starting to be a group of us that are going to go, and it just so happens that opening weekend, my oldest kid's down. So yeah, I might have name dropped a certain person on the show right now as possibly coming. So just put the pressure on him a little bit more to attend. And Kieran, who's on the channel, is also apparently, I thought he hated the prequels, but he apparently loves Phantom Menace. And then I remembered Qui-Gon. So I think we're going to turn it into a little bit of an event. But I like this. Hey, Star Wars has not done the best job at pulling in new fans, specifically new younger fans, and you have a chance to reintroduce them to this movie, which I believe is remastered, even though that has not been officially announced yet. Apologies if anybody heard that message going off. Yeah, I the rumor I heard remastered and full-length pod race in it, so which you've already seen if you have extras. But yeah.
I can hear the wheels turning over there.
Go ahead. Let us have it.
I'm not. I mean, we're keeping it short today. We'll save it.
Let the hate flow.
There will be many opportunities for me to say lots of negative things about the pod race.
Well, considering we do have the watch along here, actually,
too far off. You mean to tell me I'm going to have to watch this movie twice in the span of like a month and a half? Oh God!
You know what? I think what will happen here is we might push Phantom Menace, knowing that this is now official. I haven't watched Phantom Menace in a while. I think I'd like the next time I see it to be on the big screen. I'm also going to take my 4-year-old. That's the other thing. He's never seen the movie. He's into Star Wars, a lot of the animated stuff. He likes lightsabers. I think he finds Jar Jar funny. I think every parent who's around our collective age, if their young kids haven't seen these movies, I strongly encourage them to go see them, because here's a fact. Let's take a walk down memory lane. Most people that don't like these movies are the people that grew up on the original trilogy, and the people that do like these movies are, not that it's just exclusive to this group, but more so than not, are people that grew up with these movies, specifically the prequel movies. Unless your name's Johnny, but he watched the original trilogy first, so that doesn't count.
Yeah, that's a valid point.
I don't hate the movies, and I grew up on the original trilogy, so it's like that's what I'm like. Wait a second, I like them, so that's. I mean, are they good? One of them's actually, to me, is really good. The other two are meh, but that doesn't mean I dislike them.
It's the nature of the beast, right? The things you grew up watching are the things, that nostalgia, that reminder of your youth will always hold an appeal that if you loved it as a kid, you love it as an adult and want to continue to sort of pass that love down and see it. Every parent gets that sort of that amazing feeling of getting to show your kid the thing that you loved as a child for the first time.
Well, I mean, I'm really curious to see. Zachary will here, short story, super short. I've never seen the Phantom Menace on the big screen. The only time I've seen it was at a drive-in. I love the drive-in, but guess what? The screen qualities are shit. So I think the pod race is incredible. I think it was way ahead of its time, and the visuals and sound design on it are heavily underrated. And yet I've never got to experience it in the big, at a big screen. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm curious if my 4-year-old, though, keeping in mind, like, obviously the Phantom Menace starts with a bang, ends with a bang. It slows in the middle outside of the pod race. So I'm curious to see if it can keep his interest for, 2+ hours.
I guess better this movie than the second movie. There's 2 bangs in this one and only 1 bang in the second one. Well, 1.5 bangs.
Chris says, do you think that there will be more uncut footage scenes, and do you think the runtime will be a little bit longer for the 25th anniversary? Well, if the pod race ends up being the extended version, it will be. It will be. The pod race was, brought down quite a bit for its theatrical release.
So I guess that's more a question of, are there other things they're going to put back in, do you think? As I think more the question what he's asking.
Yeah, well, I mean, it could be the pod race, the extended pod race. That was probably the big one. There's some stuff on Naboo, like the bongo almost falls off of a waterfall, and Kenobi and Qui-Gon and Jar Jar almost go over the waterfall, and that was cut. There's a lot. You won't see the cut Bail Organa scene because it's not even the same actor playing him, but. I'm looking forward to it, but I wouldn't be surprised if they keep it pretty close to what we've already seen.
Yeah, I don't see them adding too much back into it. Just to keep it, similar to what we've experienced before. They're not going to change the viewing experience that drastically. Expanding the pod race doesn't really hurt the film in any way. It just extends it a little bit. All right. Is there anything else either of you guys want to say about episode 1 and its forthcoming re-release?
I mean, I'm just excited to see it in the theaters again, just because I remember the first time seeing it, being younger and the awestruck wonder of it, because it was brand new Star Wars content. It was something I never thought I was ever going to get a chance to see. And the fact that, so now that that's passed, now that I've gotten to where I'm at now, I want to see if some of these scenes on the big screen still resonate the way they did when I was younger.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting. Sean, what about you? Anything else you want to add?
I'm excited to see it with my kids, right? I'm avoiding bringing the 4-year-old with us to opening weekend because I don't want him to ruin the experience, and I wouldn't blame him. It's a long movie, right, for someone that age. But I also think he might take to it great. So I'm just excited to experience it with my kids and share, my nostalgia kick with them. I'm lucky enough that they happen to be into a lot of the things I'm into. Sports, Star Wars, wrestling. They like it all. So I'm lucky in that. Honestly, I'm lucky. I think I'm fairly certain Johnny will end up going to see it. I'm just excited to go with a group of people, even though it's a movie we've already seen, and go have dinner and just go see the movie and make it a little bit of an event out of it. Because guess what? It's going to be a bit before we see a new Star Wars movie on the big screen. It's not right around the corner exactly.
All right, guys. We will obviously, we'll discuss this again as it gets closer and closer, and as the media push starts to happen, and any sort of merchandising and things that come of this over the next couple of months. But before we get there, Bespin Bulletin, obviously a predominant source of Star Wars news and rumors and reporting, is reporting that the Acolyte, which for most of us had sort of assumed and thought we were going to get right around the same time as this re-release is set to happen in around May of this year, is now reporting that it will not drop until summer. What's your initial response to just that, that headline?
I think it's what we just talked about. I think they're looking at what they have to put out this year, and you have Bad Batch, which is about to drop already. And then what do you do in May? Well, we know what they're doing in May now. They're very clearly putting more of a heavier market. I'm not saying the Phantom Menace is going to re-release and make $200 million in movie theaters, but worldwide, this thing might bring in another 50, 75, 80 million dollars for them. And it did not cost them that to go put it back out either. Not even close, even with a remaster. So they push Acolyte. I don't think they want the Acolyte to overshadow it or it to overshadow the Acolyte. You know what they'd be smart to do, though? And I seen someone say this.
Drop a trailer for the Acolyte on the
100%. One where you do not put it online first. It can come up online the day after or a week after, but you put asses in those seats in the movie theaters. Maybe not even a trailer, but here's a first look. Here's the first 10 minutes. They did it with The Dark Knight. They did it with The Dark Knight Rises. They've done it with a bunch of movies where if you go see a different film, you get like Dark Knight had the Joker bank rob sequence at the beginning. I forget what movie that debuted with. No doubt a Warner Brothers movie of some sort. If people on the internet can put that together, I hope someone at Disney and Lucasfilm are listening.
That would definitely get me to go see it for sure.
It's a valid thing to do. I mean, obviously, once you get past opening day, it would be online. It just would. Whatever it is. There's no way to keep it off there. But it's an interesting thing to say. I mean, I think Sean hit it pretty much straight on. You don't want one to overshadow the other. And it's probably the smart decision to be the Acolyte, to be the one to push back, because, anniversary and a movie and, like you said, you're right. I'm a little surprised at your numbers, though. I think they'd be, if it makes less than 100, I think they'd be upset.
I don't, and here's why. The OT movies didn't make anywhere close to that during their re-releases they just did, and Jedi and Empire, while they clearly didn't have the attention this one's getting. And they did very well overseas. I want to say I read somewhere, and it's really hard to pull up the numbers, but I read somewhere that the estimate was around 50, basically, for both. But neither of those went through another remaster because they had already been remastered for the 2000 was 11 Blu-ray release they did. So I think opening weekend Return of the Jedi did $6 million in North America, which to me is a little low. But again, Star Wars has had a very healthy overseas box office. So one point I want to make out or put out there is simply remember, during the advertisement for the Acolyte, from the time it's been announced, what other Star Wars project have they talked about most in line with it? Very simple, the Phantom Menace, because it's the closest Star Wars visual material in the timeline to that era. Well, not anymore. Now there's an animated little kid show out there, High Republic. But yeah, like I think, I'm not saying there's going to be super strong ties, but I would not be shocked if they do something like that and really make this something bigger. Keeping in mind, it's probably only going to be in theaters for 2-3 weeks.
Yeah, I mean that's distinctly valid. Looking up the numbers, according to Box Office Mojo, far less than that actually. It has them both listed with grosses under 10. Domestic.
North America.
They don't have international numbers for those.
Yeah, no. Box Office Mojo is honestly taking a hit lately. I don't want to go down that road, but I know, buddy. Stay safe out there, pal. Yeah, you crazy mother Canucker. Yeah. So as far as I know, they did much better overseas than in North America, which would line up with that. So, but hey, attach the Acolyte to it. It makes sense. And also, I believe Skeleton Crew is slated for basically the very end of this year. We've talked about it before. And then you probably have Tales of the Jedi Season 2 slotting in somewhere between Acolyte and Skeleton Crew. So really, you get five fairly big, significant pieces of Star Wars content spread across the year.
I mean, that's pretty exciting.
It's definitely going to be interesting rest of the year for sure. Well, I think there was nothing more to that. Just
No.
Okay. So then let's move on to the next topic, which is, of course, the Star Wars Dark Forces remaster. We've touched on it briefly in the past on this show, and that is that it is set to have additional features within the re-release. Sean, you've got the details on that.
Yeah, I wish I could pull up the image, but I didn't send it over to my computer. A new feature of Star Wars Dark Forces remasters has been revealed: the Vault. You'll be able to check out a thoughtfully curated collection of various types of development material and in-game assets showing the rich history of the iconic title. They don't get into it any more than that.
I mean, that's pretty neat, though. I mean, just to be able to kind of get a glimpse behind the curtains as to what it took to get make the game and things like that. So yeah, I mean,
someone watched a lot of Doom. There it is.
I mean, for the behind the scenes nerds, I think it's a big thing to have. I probably won't open it, the mode. Be honest, I don't even know if I'll be getting the game. But unfortunately, as the prices of games continue to skyrocket up here, we got to be a lot more picky and choosy about the ones we do get. And
I don't see this one being but so expensive. I don't think it's going to be like a AAA
Buddy,
release.
you ain't Canadian.
No, I'm not. But still, I mean, we still have to pay a fairly decent amount for brand new games too. I mean, we $70 for like a AAA title that's brand new.
That's nice.
70, huh? Wow, you got it tough.
It was 70 10 years ago up here.
Yeah, it's you're over $100 for a new game now, and as Johnny pointed out, if you want to get the WrestleMania edition of the new WWE game, you're looking. Is it 180 after tax or plus
after tax?
After tax,
Good
which is
Lord.
nuts. It's insane.
There's no way in hell I would pay that kind of money.
So, needless to say, a game like this is probably going to run us close to the cost of a AAA title for you. Unless it comes in at like the $20 range, which I don't expect.
Nah, I'm thinking of probably 30, more than likely.
Yeah, it'll be north of 50 up here for that. I guarantee it. Everything is at least a $20 increase at minimum, and that's before taxes and what have you. So, yeah, like I said, I don't know if this will be something that'll be on my list, but a mode like that doesn't a place like that doesn't particularly do it for me. I'm not, stick around long enough and you'll realize that behind the scenes is a category that I don't care too much for. It just, I'm not excited by that. I much more prefer the product on screen and what I see.
We good? We good? Is everybody
All
okay?
right.
I'm just reading the comment. All right. I don't think there's anything more to that other than that. So let's move on to, I guess, the final topic of the tonight. Bad Batch. We know it is forthcoming. It is releasing in a few weeks, the first episode, I think, right? It's March.
Is it March 1st, I think.
So
I could be wrong on that. It's soon.
It's very soon. So first episode here's 2 weeks from Friday.
But the first 8 episodes have been sent out to certain content creators and journalists. So
obviously early review. That's the thing in media. So the first set of early reviews are starting to trickle out there. And the reactions are starting to come in from some of the social media sources, and reporters and writers are starting to work out their reviews and their early pre-stuff. So
I'll read a few reviews here. I'd love to pull them up on screen, but our share screen function is not working very good. So thank you, Phantom Menace poster, for breaking that. I mean, it's just on Twitter too, so like it's easy pull up. It's not working. So Becca Benjamin says, just finished the first 4 episodes of the Bad Batch season 3. Oh my force! Definitely no spoilers from me. All I'll say is that this last season is full of so much heart, hope, and a whole lot of heavy. Team Bad Batch is firing on all cylinders. James Barney from Star Wars Newsnet puts out there, so far no episode felt like a sidestep. Everyone picks up right where the last one left off. Each story, or each tells a story and keeps it moving forward, which is about as vague as you can be. I've seen some other ones on here earlier, but they're not. Anyways, the gist of what I read earlier was people are receiving it very, very well, but apparently takes a pretty major tonal shift and is very dark. So think like Star Wars, Clone Wars, going from the first 3 seasons into seasons 4 and 5.
I mean, it makes sense when you really look at it, especially since this is supposed to be the final season. This is them, trying to, rescue Omega and things of that nature, where there's going to be those elements where they're going to figure out more what the Empire's doing, and, probably more sacrifice and more loss and things like that. So because as far as we know, none of these characters are around. Even when you think about A New Hope and Empire, things like that, none of these characters are around. So it's very possible that this could be one of those series where they're going to go Rogue One and just about everybody bites it.
I mean, I've said it before. This show didn't do it for me. I haven't watched an episode since the first season. So, nothing they're saying particularly moves me to watching it. Because, you sort of, and this is just, this is me being a little jaded, but, early press is almost exclusively good press, because you give it to people who are going to say good things about it, and that's just, it's jaded, but it's true. When was the last time you saw an early review that was like, man, that was crap, that was dog? Like, you don't send it to people who are going to review it like that. So I'm not surprised that everything's all fluffy and great and amazing and awesome and stuff like that, because that's the nature of pre-release review. You give it to sources who are going to give you cupcake reviews, and that's fine. That's just the way it is. It's not a bad thing, but people, there are certain people who inherently take that and believe it in a realistic way. So I mean, I don't. It's pre-release reviews. They're always happy and exciting. Everything's the best thing since the last thing.
Yeah, I mean, hey, I'm with you, man, and I think it's fair to say I probably consume a lot more Star Wars content than you, but like I also consider myself a very realistic fan, and this show didn't do it for me after the first few episodes. But I know it does it for other people, so I'm thrilled for them. And I'm not saying I'm not going to check any of it out. It's just not priority viewing for me.
I'll probably watch like the last episode just to see how it ends.
Yeah.
And that'll be about it, if I'm being honest. Like, unless, I'm seeing reviews and stuff, and a certain episode is like, oh man, this happened, and you've got to see it. Like, Obi-Wan Kenobi shows up in an episode. Yeah, I'm going to check that out. Or Vader shows up in an episode. I'm probably going to check that out. Other than that, I don't really care so much until we get to that very last episode. As we're getting into the window, like I said, 2 weeks from this Friday, if you're watching live. Otherwise, it's March 1st is the date. And runtimes are starting to trickle out for the episode. So what have we got on that front? It doesn't say you're muted, but you seem to be muted.
No, I was muted. StreamYards is definitely having issues, which probably explains some of the lag we encountered earlier on. I have it here, and I believe it's the runtime for the first 8 episodes. We have episode 1, 31 minutes. Episode 2 is 25. Episode 3 is 25. Episode 4 is 25. Episode 5 is 26. Episode 6 is 25. Episode 7 is 23. And episode 8 is 25. All of them being minutes, not hours.
Good Lord, a 25-hour episode of anything is not something I'm watching.
Give me a 25-hour Clone Wars battle, but it doesn't need to. It's all fighting.
Nope, no thank you. Not even that. I am not watching that. Nope. Mm-mm. I mean, it's par for the course. 31 minutes is a little surprising to me, only because if there's one thing the Disney era of content has been, it's short. And 31 minutes for an animated series, surprisingly long.
I mean, they're just probably trying to reintroduce some character, reintroduce you to the team and really try to fully set everything up for the rest of the season. I mean, it wouldn't shock me if the series finale was an hour, just because they're going to try to tie up every little loose end they can to ensure that everything happens that needs to happen.
Okay, now hold on a minute. We're going to have some words here, Richie. Okay? Because that comment, that is egregious. Okay? That is just outright unlawful. Okay? Just straight. No, sir. Excuse me?
Well, I certainly wasn't a fan at all. Like, I didn't name my kid after one of the lead actors or anything.
And can you remind me again who told you about that show?
You don't want me to remind you who told me about that show before you did, nor do I want to discuss her name on air.
Okay, let's not talk about that person.
Yeah.
But, who was one of the
I'm
early
happily
people...
engaged to that one over there and no
Okay.
longer married to the other.
And who was the other person in your life who's still in your life telling you how awesome said show was?
You.
That's right. Not a fan. I've been watching that show since day one. Okay? I've been here since Dad's on a hunt and he hasn't come home. Okay? Thank you, sir.
Hey, it's a great show. Can't lie.
All right. I'm lost now. Hold on. I need to consult my notes now. All right. We're actually on perfect timing. It's time for the game of the week. Only 7? Those are rookie numbers, Rich. You got to pump that up. I'm on like 15. All right. It is now time for the game of the week segment. This week's game of the week was chosen by Sean. Sir, tell us about your game and why you chose it.
Star Wars Battlefront 2 2017 is a game of 2 stories, really. There's the extremely positive, and then there's the extremely negative, both of which are deserved. This game had so much hype. It got a story mode of sorts, which people were excited about after the first one had none. And then you got to take a look at their pay to win system, which was there's pay to win, and then there's the pay to earn the points to unlock the locked characters, both of which were radically insane when the game came out, which is why the game got slammed and why some people never went back to it. And I totally understand why they did that. You can't wait a year after the game came out, year and a half, even 2 years later, to get out content that should have been on the game to begin with. You should not have had to wait however many months it was to play as Obi-Wan Kenobi. Obi-Wan Kenobi is seen on screen in Star Wars, straight from A New Hope, all the way to today, on every possible medium you can think of. And it just, they could not, they butchered the release of the game. They shot themselves in the foot, and it's one of the most disgusting ways I've ever seen a game handled. Not just Lucasfilm, not just Disney, not just DICE or EA, period. And then you get the second side of that, where it's like, okay, well, here we are all these years later, and it's a fan-fucking-tastic game to play. The maps are great. Johnny, you and I played it with some others last year for a few weeks, and it's a lot of fun. You have so many different characters that you can play, so many different planets that you can go to. It's filled with content. Like, there's so much of it. And I'm not saying it had to be like that at launch, but you needed to get to it quicker than 2.5 years later. And like visually, still, you play that game, which is now 7 years old today. Mm-hmm. And visually, it's still fucking amazing. It might still be the best visual looking Star Wars game. And that is while comparing it to this guy right here. So that's saying something for a 7-year-old game. I just wish they didn't shoot themselves in the foot, because I know for a fact there's people that we know that were a part of that initial release. And when all that shit went down, they said, nope, I'm out. Fuck this. And have never gone back. So to me, Star Wars Battlefront 2 is what if. What if they had their ducks in a row from the beginning and this was the game they delivered? I think we'd be talking about this game in a much different light. How about the two of you?
I mean, you're absolutely right. The chaos of the system led to multiple class action lawsuits against EA, which is a statement in and of itself. It riled up the people so much that it basically killed off a subgenre of loot box games. Made them change the way they operated entirely, which I'd say is a good thing for the gaming industry as a whole, because that loot box era was one of the worst to be a gamer. But it was the difference between pay to win and pay to play, and they took it to the nth degree by making it not only pay to win but pay to play as well. And there's nothing wrong, like pay to win games, fine, whatever. I firmly stand with it's your money, spend it how you want. If you want to drop thousands of dollars to make yourself the best gamer, like the best player in a game, knock your socks off. It's not going to ruin my enjoyment one iota. But when I have to spend the cost of buying the game and then spend hundreds of dollars on top of that to be able to unlock elements within the game that aren't DLC, like actual honest to God DLC, then we've got an issue, because that should never be the case. You don't buy Street Fighter and have half the characters where you have to pay in the base game, where you then have to pay hundreds of dollars to unlock them all. That's not how it works. These are all things that are achievable within the game. And they can come back and say, oh, well, you could have unlocked them themselves too. But, I don't even remember what we were talking. We talked about this on this show a few weeks ago, where Sean brought up that somebody had done the math and you would have to play the game for like 2 years just to unlock all of the characters at launch. And that's fucking ridiculous. That outside of those negatives, the game was fun to play. Like actually playing the game was fun. The heroes element of it, once they finally got that all figured out, which, like Sean said, was too little too late, is amazing. Like Sean said, you could still load it up today, load up a heroes versus villains map, and have so much fun, because it is a lot of fun, getting to play those characters, even when you're stuck with like a Boba Fett or a Han Solo, who aren't exactly the greatest characters in what is a fighting style game, a shooter style game. They're non-force users, non-lightsaber wielders. They're not exactly the characters you want to play as, but they're still fun, because you can still take down the force users, and you can take down Darth Vader with Princess Leia if you play strategically and play smart. You can take down Obi-Wan Kenobi with Boba Fett if you use your skills and play right. And like Sean said, visually, this game is untouchable. It is for my money the best game with the Frostbite engine, period. It's the pinnacle of DICE. They have not done anything better visually, and I don't think they ever will. Space combat was also amazing.
Missed opportunities, though.
Absolutely.
I don't know how you do a game like that and have it run as well as it does, and no trench run from A New Hope, no trench run from Return of the Jedi.
Absolutely missed opportunities. There was so much that they could have included in that. Like, I'll grant you, yes, the Battle of Jakku was fun, because it was sort of, topical to the time period. Getting to experience it right as you're learning about it in the movies was fun.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And, getting to fly through that Star Destroyer on the planet's surface was fun. But there was so much more there could have been outside of, like, okay, you're not going to include the trench run in the story mode because you can't. There's no way to do that. But you already had in, basically a trial mode, built into the game. You could very easily have had that be, a trial map that you play. complete the trench run the fastest, do the trench run with the most kills, what have you. You could have easily had that as a trials map, and they didn't.
Very true. I just remember the excitement I had for that game, and obviously, first day, day one, deluxe edition, all that stuff. And at the time, I didn't realize getting the deluxe edition meant I got some stuff that most people didn't get. The whole pay to win thing at the time. So I'm glad it changed, and I think it changed for the better. I think it changed gaming for the better in that respect. I think gaming needed this to happen. It's a shame that it had to be a Star Wars, product that ended up, being the sacrificial lamb for this to go down the way it did. But in the long run, it made it better for all of us as gamers. So you don't have to worry about pay to win so much. It's more, oh, look, here's a skin I want. Go ahead and pay for your skin. It's not going to give you any advantages. It's just a skin. But some of the things, they did improve it a lot. There's a lot of gameplay mechanics that Battlefront 2 did improve upon from their first attempt at Battlefront. I definitely noticed right away the improvement in space battles. I was really a fan of those. I loved doing those all the time. My friends hated it. I enjoyed it. They hated if they were on the other team because, I was actually fairly decent. But it's just, for me, that was my favorite game mode. I didn't mind doing like ground war and things like that, but it was space battles that got me into Star Wars. That's what made me fall in love with Star Wars when I was a kid watching A New Hope, and just having this, this opportunity to fly around and do all that stuff. I was so excited, and I was so happy when I saw how much they improved it visually. Like especially when you're battling on Camino, those visuals were amazing. I was blown away just flying around in Camino.
It's the best looking planet in the game, in my opinion. Sure, you go inside the white halls and you're battling there, but when you're outside, you're flying around. Oh, it's amazing. The controls were responsive. You could do just about anything in those ships. It was great. I would say, like, if I'm in flying, I would say my favorite character to use was Yoda, just because I liked his Jedi Starfighter, even though you didn't get to see a whole lot of it. I liked using his Jedi Starfighter. There was a lot of cool, I think, in terms of force abilities for any of the pilots. Some of their ships had some really neat abilities. So, I liked how they tried to give you. Everybody felt different, and I think that was very important too, especially for the heroes. They did a good job with that. But other than that, I really hope that EA, if they do it at Battlefront 3, takes this experience for where it is now, and they continue with it moving forward, because that would be huge if they can improve upon what was already good now.
It'd be interesting to see if a third one ever comes to pass.
That was recently shot down, so we'll see.
I'm not holding my breath for it, and if it does, I doubt it would be DICE doing it.
That would not hurt my feelings.
I want to say EA just laid off a bunch of DICE employees not too long ago. So,
yeah, EA. I think we talked about it on the stream. EA basically said no thanks. Richard asked who your guys' favorite character is in the game. Mine's Kylo Ren. There's something about the way that they made his character. You walk through the room, the one hand's on the lightsaber, and it's similar to Kylo in the movie, where it's sort of like it's like this effortless block of the blaster bolts. It just looks badass, and I dig him. Kylo Ren.
I preferred Palps. I liked his abilities were good. He had that range and the in close. So I was a fan of old Uncle Palpy.
For me, since I did grind it out, I'm going to say Luke was my favorite character, just because he was that first one that I legitimately just grinded away until I finally had enough to unlock him.
That's fair. I mean, I'd say I probably spent the most time with Vader because he was the guy I unlocked most of the content. He was the guy I kept pulling skills out of the loot boxes for. So
Oh, I got you. That makes
yeah,
sense then.
I had to use him a lot. But all right, that is us. Does anybody have anything else they want to say about this game?
No, just it ended up being really good, but this thing could be talked about as one of the greats, and just missteps.
Mm-hmm. All right, guys, that's going to do it for this week's Game of the Week. Randy, your choice is next.
So I was thinking about it and just talking about parts of Battlefront 2. I think what we will discuss, and I'm sure you guys either have or have not played this yet, but Star Wars Squadrons.
Okay. So you have it, Star Wars Squadrons. That will likely be 2 weeks because, unless Randy jinxes us again, we are coming back to the watch along next week.
One way or another, it'll be the next 2 weeks because that's all we have left after this week.
So, all right, guys. That is going to do it for this week's episode of the Legacy of Star Wars podcast, brought to you by Fandom Empire. Randy, where can everybody catch you?
I still want to call it Twitter, even though I know it's X, at Giggity Giles. Also, weekly, granted the Super Bowl just happened, but my friends and I also do a sports / pop culture podcast called The Sports Brew. We drink, talk sports, talk shit, and have a lot of fun.
Sean, where can they find you on the socials?
At Fandom Empire Now. You can check us out there. At TN. Sorry, is it TNIN Haddonfield? That's it. Our Monday night show has its own Twitter, and launching this upcoming Monday. Things have basically all designed. I just got to go through all the verification crap. Is the official new Legacy of Star Wars YouTube page, where you'll be able to find a bunch of short form content where we'll clip out parts of this episode, put it up there, but also do some random shit. I'm sure we all will. So definitely check that out.
And that, of course, brings us up into this beautiful, beautiful segue. As that page is set to launch next week, head on over to it. Give it a like and a subscribe, and you will be entered to win a Force Awakens Millennium Falcon. So once that goes live, head on over there, give it a like, give it a follow, all that fun stuff that helps us get on more pages and more people can see us. So head on over there, give it a like. Once it is up, catch the socials, watch us next week, and we'll tell you where to go to do that. And of course, if you like the show, if you enjoyed the show, head down, give us a like, give us a subscribe, click the bell, all that fun stuff. And of course, leave a comment if you're not here on the live chat. Watching us whenever you're watching us, leave a comment down below. What did you like? What didn't you like? Do you agree with us? Do you disagree with us? Just leave a comment and help us defeat the evil algorithm. And if Star Wars isn't quite your thing, you like other stuff, head on over to the channel where you can, of course, watch every Monday night Tonight in Haddonfield, where Sean and Dean talk about Halloween and all things Halloween related. Every other Monday at and yet not 100% confirmed time, House of the Empire. Sean and Zach will talk about Game of Thrones and Game of Thrones related accessories. I went a little Hank Hill there. And of course, every Tuesday night you can see us here for the Legacy of Star Wars podcast. Wednesday night, welcome to the geek side after Dynamite. And of course, keep your eyes on the channel for other short form content about news and, of course, trailer reactions. Head on over there. Like Sean said, there were a couple dropped this week. He did one for Deadpool and Wolverine and one for Twisters. So head on over, watch them if you guys are interested in those trailers and see Sean's reaction to them. And keep your eye here on the channel for gaming streams. Hasn't been one for a couple of weeks, but keep your eyes open. You never know when one of them is going to pop up. Sean's still doing his Phantom Menace playthrough.
Fuck Naboo.
Fuck Naboo. Maybe one day he'll get past there. And as we get closer in a couple of weeks, WWE 2K24 drops. So, that will be something that we'll be playing. And I'll be joining Sean for those, for at least some of those. streams as well. So keep your eye here on the channel for that. Of course, head on down, like, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Leave a comment, helps to beat the evil algorithm. If you want to contribute on another level, head on over to Patreon, patreon.com/Fandom Empire, and contribute at whatever level you so desire to get exclusive Patreon content available at the 3 different tiers. So, for Sean, for Randy, for myself, we must say so long from Sullust. We'll see you next week, and may the Force be with you all.